I've got my seat here. I have a strap, but by no means is a strap required. We're going to spend some time in a seated figure 4. So a strap can be nice to help cross the ankle up over top of the thigh later. You decide. I'll scoot my chair back here. But find your seat wherever that's at. And start to scoot to the edge of that seat so you can really feel your sits bones catch on the edge of your seat. Your sits bones are those bony protrusions in each booty cheek that you feel really make a strong connection with the supports beneath you. You might close your eyes for a moment as you scoot forward, feeling that solid foundation, those sits bones pressed down into the seat. And then ensure that the whole of the pad of each foot is planted on the earth. So noticing now the pressure through the pads of each foot, the weight of the legs through the pad of each foot. Allow your mind's eye to travel back up into the sits bones once more. Notice the pressure there as you support yourself in your seat. And then allow your mind's eye to travel up now into the shoulders. Can you relax them from the ears? Let them droop down towards the earth. And now allow the mind's eye to travel up into the neck and the head. Can you press length through the spine by gently pressing up through the top of your head? As you press up through the top of your head, also press down through those sits bones. So this equal and opposite pressure, bringing space to each vertebra here. And then from this seat, notice your breath in your body. We take a moment to notice where we feel our natural inhales and exhales. Maybe you feel it in the belly. Maybe the heart and the shoulders rise and lift as you inhale. Maybe everything at once. There's no right or wrong answer, but take note of your own body and your own breath. Notice what expands and stretches as you draw breath in, what softens and sinks as you exhale. And then notice if you can relax any effort in the low belly. Let the space behind the belly button relax and soften as you breathe your natural, easy breath here in this seat. This morning's practice is all about our sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is located just below the belly button. You might take one hand and place it on your tummy below the belly button if that feels good. This is the area of your sacral chakra. If you'd like, you can take the opposite hand and place it just below the low back, just below, above the tailbone here. So opposite the hand in the front. The space between these two hands is the home of your sacral chakra, your pelvic bowl here. And so as you breathe, you might begin to inhale, send the breath deep down into the belly. Imagine it filling the pelvic bowl, stretching the space of this sacral chakra. And as you exhale, soften this space, let it relax and release. Continue to send your breath deep down into the belly, deep into this sacral chakra space, stretching, filling, releasing on the exhale and softening. Maybe you can feel your breath expand this area of the hips and the pelvis. Maybe you just imagine it in your mind's eye. Both practices have equal power. So we allow whatever we experience to be as it is. Breathing deep into that sacral chakra. This is the home of our emotions. This is the home of our self-expression, our freedom to show up as we are. Deep in the pelvic bowl, we have nerve endings, an enormous amount of nerves that run from the base of our skull all the way down through the body, covering the pelvic bowl, part of our autonomic nervous system. And these nerves in the pelvic bowl do help control our emotions by helping control our nervous system. You can release the hands if you haven't already. Plant them atop the thighs. Let's find some movement in this pelvic bowl. We're going to keep the spine here in alignment, the neck as is. Imagine there's a pencil sticking out the top of the head. We're going to draw little circles on the ceiling, moving from the pelvis, moving from the hips, from the home of this sacral chakra. You're just going to let those circles be small, right? Small and comfortable. And then slow them down. You might move with the breath, inhaling as you round back, exhaling as the heart rounds forward, these little circles. Softening any effort in the belly. Notice how the weight of your body shifts on your sits bones as you draw these circles. You might close your eyes to do it. Allow the mind's eye to travel down into your seat. And notice how the weight shifts from left to right sit bone as you draw these circles with the top of the head. Releasing any effort in the low back and the low belly. And you might hang out here. This might feel good. You might want to increase the stretch and the sensation by drawing even bigger circles. And you might let those circles grow and grow. As the circles grow, you can use the palms of the hands, the arms as anchors to support the low back and the torso. Using the tools that you have to create comfort here. Inhaling, the heart rounds back. Exhaling, the heart rounds forward. From wherever you are, roll to a gentle stop and then switch directions, these big, slow circles. Again, you might notice the weight shifting from sit bone to sit bone. You might notice the weight in your sits bones has increased with the size of the circles you're drawing. There's so much for our mind's eye to notice. When we take time to notice these details, we're pulling in somatic elements to our yoga practice, which help rewire neural pathways, helps release chronic tension in the body. We're going to start to let these circles shrink at whatever pace feels right to you. Each circle a little smaller than the last, until the shoulders are floating above the hips in stillness. We'll warm up now the side body. On an inhale, sweep both arms out and up, really press through the fingertips. Gaze follows the hands. Exhale, we're going to drop the left arm down. The right arm presses over top the body towards the left. And hang out here for a moment. We're only going so far as we can feel the stretch all along the right side of the body. Continue to press out through those right fingertips as we press down through that right sit bone. Take a moment and notice, can you press down through this right sit bone? Really feel the length along the body. On an inhale, we're going to press down through this left leg now, through the whole pad of that left foot to lift the body back up. Drop the arm down by your side, right? Notice how you can use your body as a tool. Inhale, sweep the left arm up and over. We come into this twist. I'm going to drop my right arm down by my side. Pressing out through those fingertips and then down through that corresponding sit bone. You might notice you want to sit into the opposite sit bone as a bit of a support in this stretch. And if that's the case, lessen the stretch a little bit. Rock over back into that left sit bone so you can really feel all this length you're creating. And then as we get ready to rise, you're going to switch, press down through this right leg to rise up. Let's move with the breath. Now that we've learned this in our body a little better, inhale, sweep both arms up. Exhale, drop the left, the right comes over top. Inhale, rise up, we switch sides. As we rise, we're not forgetting to press through that opposite leg, right? Rising up. Moving with the breath. Exhale, we stretch. Inhale, we rise. Let's do this for 2 more rounds of breath at your own pace. We're warming up the hips and the spine, some lateral flexion and extension. Beautiful. On an inhale, both arms up. As you exhale, press out through the fingertips, palms lower, down towards the earth. We're going to interlace our fingers behind our back. Now, if it doesn't feel good to interlace your fingers, tops of the hands down towards the earth, you might grab a strap, a belt, a t-shirt nearby, and use that to hold on to here. From here, shimmy the tops of the hands down towards the earth. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, press the heart center forward. So we're just warming up the shoulders here. We're opening up the front body. If you want to dig a little further into the front body, lift the chin up towards the ceiling until you feel the flesh, the muscles along the front of the neck tighten here. This is a beautiful front body opener. You might even let the belly fall forward, right? Spread the knees, walk the feet out wide enough for that belly. Again, we're squeezing the shoulder blades towards one another, pressing open through the heart center, pressing up through the chin. We'll hold this for 3 more rounds of breath, breathing deep into the belly. You can lower that chin anytime you like, but don't let the head fall back towards the shoulders. We want to keep pressing up through that chin for as long as it feels good. On your next exhale, lower the gaze back down, release the arms. Beautiful. Let's do some shoulder rolls, just some basic rolls one way. And then the reverse it. Notice how it feels to reverse those rolls. Beautiful. All right. From here, because we only have 15 minutes or so left of class, and I really want to dig into the sacral chakra, we're going to take this into goddess pose. Goddess pose looks like heel toeing the feet out wide. It's a deep hip opener here. The knees track with the toes. So wherever the toes are, my knees are in alignment with them. And your goddess might look like this, might look like this. We just want to soften and open up the hips as far as we can without creating pain or sensation that is distracting or too intense. So find your goddess pose. From here, we're going to crack open the shoulders and the neck just a little more by planting the palms on top of the thighs, fingertips towards the inside of the thighs. From here, I press down into my palms. I'm straightening my arms out. I'm lifting up through the top of my head, all the length you're finding in your spine here. As you exhale, you're going to dip your left shoulder towards the midline. As you dip the left shoulder, you're pressing even more firmly into the palm of that left hand, and then rise up. Exhale, switch sides, dip as far as feels good. And then to rise, we press through the palms, dip and rise. It's a little twist for the spine. This warms up the shoulders and the back. We're supporting our head as we come down. by engaging through the neck. Beautiful. Once more on either side. Dipping down as far as feels good. Maybe you notice the more you do this, the further you dip. And then once you rise up, we're going to focus now in Goddess, our work here in the pelvic bowl. So relaxing the shoulders from the ears, finding that length once more, pressing through the top of the head gently. From here, we're going to focus all of our effort from the waist down, relaxing as much of the upper body as possible. First, we'll press down through the pads of our feet. And as you do, you're going to curl your tailbone up towards the ceiling in front of you. Feel the low back lengthen. I'm going to change my trajectory so you can see me here. I'm pressing through the pads of my feet, tucking my tailbone up towards the ceiling, lengthening the low back, squeezing the glutes, right? Squeezing each cheek here in the seat. Still pressing down through the pads of the feet. We're holding for another breath. Can you relax through your jaw as you engage only the lower body here? And then relax the pelvis. Find your neutral seat once more. Once again, when you're ready, press down through the pads of the feet. Curl the tailbone up towards the ceiling in front of you. Feel the low back lengthen. It's like pelvic cat here. Hold, squeeze the glutes and hold. It's a lot of effort. We're building strength in the hips, the low back, the low belly, the legs. When you're ready, release, rock the pelvis back to neutral. Find an easy seat. Now we're going to reverse it. Where we were once rocking the pelvis forward, you're now going to rock it back. So when you're ready, we're going to rock the belly forward, tuck the tailbone up towards the wall behind you now, or up towards the back of the head. So belly comes forward, right? Lots of space for the belly here. You might take a deep breath into the low belly. Notice all the space you've created for your breath here. And once more, tucking that tailbone up towards the back of the head. Sometimes it can feel good to just lift through the heart a little bit. Making all this space for the belly. On an exhale, release, come back to your neutral seat. You might shift on your sits bones back and forth, just finding that secure foundation once more. And then when you're ready, belly comes forward, tailbone curls up towards the back of the head. We hold. 2 rounds of breath. And then on your next exhale, release back to neutral. Now let's rock back and forth with the breath. We've found these really exaggerated versions of these pelvic tilts. Now let's move with the breath. So on an exhale, press through the pads of the feet, curl the tailbone up, lengthen the low back. Inhale, rock the pelvis forward, curl the tailbone back. So moving back and forth with the pace of your own breath, allowing the breath to be big and full in the body so we can slow these movements down as much as possible. This is big sacral chakra work. By moving nice and slow, by exploring the full range of motion here, we are releasing patterns of chronic tension in the body. We're creating new patterns of release. We're allowing that energy wheel to begin turning, moving stuck energy through the body. This is how we assist. On an exhale, find a neutral posture. From here, I'll turn my trajectory one more time. Let's heel toe the knees back in. Let's give our hips a break for a moment. Let's find staff pose seated. Staff pose is simple. We're going to extend the legs long. We're going to Plant the heels, and you might see my toes are flexed up towards my body. So it's just the heels of my feet on the earth. You might take a gentle bend in the knees if you have a tendency to hyperextend. And then from here, planting the palms on top of the thighs, pressing long through the top of the head. Again, finding that equal and opposite with the sits bones pressing down as we find this length out through the top of the head. Beautiful. We'll turn this staff pose into a little twist. So on an inhale, sweep those arms out and up. As you exhale, left hand comes down to the top of this right thigh. Right hand plants behind you. So maybe your left hand makes a thigh. Maybe you just hold on to the belly or the hip. Either way, wherever your hands are anchored, we're going to use them to assist with this twist, because it's not our shoulders that we want to twist or even our neck. It's our heart and our rib cage that we want to turn in the direction of the wall behind us. So breathing here in this twist, you might relax the shoulders from the ears if they've scrunched up. And then breathe deeply into the heart and the belly. Notice how sensation in the body changes with a deep inhale or a deep exhale here. Can you twist a little further when you release the air from the body? Can you notice how the stretch intensifies as you take a deep inhale? On an exhale of your choice, release, wind back to neutral. On an inhale, once more, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, we switch sides with this twist. Again, anchoring those hands, inviting the heart center to turn in the same direction as your gaze over this left shoulder. We'll check in with the legs, gently pressing through the heels, flexing the toes towards the heart center. So many things happening in our physical body, even in stillness here. A million things for our mind to notice, to witness about our experience in this present moment. And so you might do that. Notice how the breath changes sensation. Can you bring ease to the jaw? Can you soften any effort in the belly? When you're ready, release from this twist, come back to neutral. Let's bend the knees, plant the pads of the feet. We're going to find our goddess one more time. I know it's a lot for the outer hips. You might heel toe your feet out wide. If you're finding that your chair is hitting the outside of your thighs, scoot forward, scoot to the very edge of your chair. Invite the hips to open, knees tracking over the toes. And then when you're ready, this time, instead of the front to back, these pelvic tilts, we're going to tilt side to side. So when you're ready, you're going to tuck the right hip up towards this right armpit. You can see I'm pressing through the ball of my right foot, lifting my right heel to just tuck that hip up. And then switch sides, relax. You're going to tuck the right hip up. Switching sides, tucking that left hip. So it's not a ton of movement. We're just shifting the hips back and forth. I'm using like a little side crunch each time, back and forth. Moving on each inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Relax into a more neutral goddess pose. Let's find some hip circles. So we've done front to back. We've done side to side. Can we find circles? So when you're ready, belly comes forward, tailbone curls back towards the back of the head. Hang out here for a moment. From here, we're going to roll towards the right, shifting that right hip up towards, that right armpit. And then roll it on back, curl the tailbone in, lengthen through the low back. Then we're going to shift it on over. Woo. So starting these circles, maybe you can just feel them, pelvic circles. We're really focusing on the pelvis in the body, loosening through the hips, the low belly, strengthening the back, finding these circles. From wherever you are, let's switch directions. Hip circles the opposite way. Let them be messy. Let them be slow. Really feel the full range of motion of your hips here in goddess pose. We'll do 2 more circles in this direction. Beautiful. When you're ready, heel toe your feet back together. This is a lot of work for the hips. Sometimes I take C shapes with my hands like this and simply massage the outside of your hips from knee to hip bone. This is also really healthy for the body because right here on the outside of your thighs, this tissue holds a lot of lymphatic fluid. You can find the tissue kind of is soft around here. When we massage it like this, we're allowing that lymph fluid to travel elsewhere, to be recycled and reused instead of remaining stagnant in this tissue on the outside of your hips. Matter of fact, you can do this same wonderful massage to the inside of the thighs if that feels good. And so you might do that here now. We're inviting lymph fluid to recirculate through the body. We're inviting new blood flow to the legs, to this place in the low body. And you might even bring these C-shaped massagers up into the low belly. Really loving on that sacral chakra. In Qigong, this is something that they use often to move energy through the body. We just let it jiggle. We let it be. Take these same little massagers to the low back, the area of that sacrum just above the tailbone. We're just here to massage. All right. Anywhere the body is asking for it, we allow stagnant energy to move through us. Beautiful. The last thing that we'll do is a wide-legged forward fold. This is another big sacral chakra opener. So for this, you might heel toe your feet out wide to goddess. This can be a wonderful way to take a wide-legged forward fold. You might extend the legs out long, keeping a slight bend in the knees, planting the pad of the foot. We don't want to extend them out so long we can't keep the whole of the foot planted. And then on an inhale, find that length through the spine, press up to the top of the head. As you exhale, invite the heart center forward. And you might come down onto the palms of your hands, right? Fingertips pointed inside again. You might come down so far, you make it to forearms. You might forward fold so deeply you plant your hands on the earth in front of you. There are all sorts of ways to be. We're still pressing through the pads of our feet as we lower on down wherever we find ourselves. Breathing into the belly. And then if it feels good, you might relax the neck, allow the top of the head to grow heavy. Finding ease in the jaw and the tongue. One more deep breath in here. And as you exhale, press strong through the pads of the feet. Use the strength of your legs to lift and then assist with the arms if you like, rising up. All right, let's find our final Shavasana. Heel toe the feet back together. We're going to scoot all the way back into our chair until our back feels supported. You might lean back wherever you are. The goal of our final Shavasana is to spend a minute or so in complete stillness and effortlessness. So let the arms relax and slide off the body if they will. Let the knees and the thighs find ease. Soften through the front of the belly here. In this place that we invite our busy mind down into the stillness of our physical body. And we allow our mind to notice that even in stillness, even when we are putting in the least physical amount of effort possible, our body is still moving with the breath. And so we allow our mind to focus on the sensation of the breath, the fullness of each inhale, the softening of each exhale. And we allow our mind to get really good at this, noticing the details. What temperature is the air as you draw it into the lungs and the belly? What temperature is the breath as you exhale? You might notice yet again where the softness of your natural inhale and exhale resides in your body. Maybe you feel it mostly in the belly. Maybe in the heart. We just allow the mind to notice, knowing that each time that we spend time doing this, we train our mind towards ease. And not only that, but we learn to use it like the tool that it is. You can remain here for as long as you like, breathing, being, and noticing. It is a powerful, powerful act. When you're ready, though, you might begin to awaken by moving the palms on the thighs, by noticing the texture or the temperature that you feel in the fingers and the hands. You might do the same with the toes now. What textures can you feel beneath your feet? What temperature is your toes or are your toes? And then invite that movement, that curious exploration up through the arms, through the legs. You might try pandiculation, which is really just like yawning and stretching, like you would after a long sleep. Sometimes I imagine my cat or dog stretching in the sun on the porch, rolling around. That is the essence of pandiculation at its core. Whatever feels good in your body, doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't even matter what anyone else thinks of it. It's just got to feel good to you. And then when you're ready, we'll end our practice with an optional palms and Anjali Mudra at the heart center. You might even take a bow in the head if that feels good. Any time that we spend present and releasing the pelvis, the hips, we allow that root chakra, the sacral chakra, to move freely, energy through the body. We find that our emotions, while they might still feel big, they might feel a little less hard, a little more like we can sit present with them. We might find freedom to dance and move with our hips loosened. We might find freedom from low back and hip pain the more time we spend with our sacral chakra. So this time is powerful. Thank you for spending it with me. The light and the dark in me, the passion, the fire, the big feelings. See the light and the dark in you. And we are the same.